This is the second translation of Luang Pu's Qigong reflection on the 10th of December 2022. So let's not forget that the iceberg at the North Pole is melting. Viruses has been buried inside the iceberg for millions of years. We don't know how long, but it's been there. It was frozen in the ice, but it's not yet dead. It's still alive, but been locked up. Just like how human who create sinful deeds and then has to be sent to hell, and they have to pay back their sinful karma in the hell, cannot be reborn for a certain period of time. So these viruses have no chance to be reborn or free from being locked in the iceberg. And then one day, human has destroyed this prison that lock up the viruses. They create global warming and made the iceberg melted. So the virus was happy, crying out, hooray, hooray, with happiness. They have chance to come back alive again. So Luang Pu sees that mankind will have to face a terrifying karma. It will be very heavy for mankind because the viruses has many different types. Only this first one that created the pandemic, which is the COVID-19 virus, we still have not be able to handle it well. In the past, when there were pandemic of other viruses, like for example the Spanish flu and other things, mankind took 10 years to produce and tested the vaccine before we able to use the vaccine to vaccinate it and prevent us from the harm of the viruses. However, we did differently with this COVID-19. We didn't tested it long enough to make it safe for mankind, and we rushed to use it on mankind. So we don't know what would be the long-term results from this vaccination that was given to mankind. Some took the vaccine shot like as many as 5 shots, but they still got COVID. Only this much information proved that there are danger. So to avoid from facing danger, we have to practice Dhamma. Then Luang Pu greeted my friend. Her name is A from Bangkok, and he told her that let's start practicing Dhamma. There is no other way that can save you to survive from this danger. He told her that she should be proud and confident because she was born as a Thai whom living in the society that is full of samadhi, means right view. Thai society has um, the media that manifest peace and harmony. We have temples in every villages, every district, every sub-district. So Buddhism is prosperous here. However, times has destroyed the beauty of the culture. Luang Pu used the word that time has eroded the beautiful culture and civilization in Thailand, especially within these past 50 to 100 years. However, if you are witty or have wisdom, you will know that this special era is very suitable for you to practice and uphold Dhamma. Again, he repeated his earlier teaching to my friend, saying that if you want to really know if hell really exists, try getting married. And then he teaches her that even another person is living in America in this time, present time, you can easily getting married to each other because the global communication is easy. You can just make a call, hello, hello, and then you will hear each other's voice. So I told Luang Pu that she is now taking care of her family's member who became quite old, like 80 years old up. So he said this is a good thing to do. Luang Pu praised her for keeping our culture beautiful. The civilization of the world is not the way. Because she used to work for a news publisher, writer, and she came back to take care of her family members who got old. So Luang Pu said this is very graceful things to do. So I told Luang Pu that right now she's not working to make money, but she planned to start working again. So Luang Pu said to study anything in the world is useless. So let's not learn the worldly way, learn Buddha's Dhamma, and use the ability and knowledge that she already have to create like sufficient amount of resources, only enough to support her and her family. He said self-sufficient economy is the best, and contentment is a good Dhamma practice. So just like be enough with what you already have. Don't striving for more to feed the desire, like how the worldly way always make you follow. And he suggests her that to study Buddha's Dhamma, she can decorate the world to be more beautiful. Through the enlightened wisdom, she can benefit to the world. She can proclaim that this wisdom is come from the Buddha. It can solve all problems in the world because worldly knowledges cannot solve any problem like politics problem, economics problem, financial problems, military problems. These problems will continue to go on without being solved. It's endless. However, if you study Dhamma, you solve every problem, all kinds of problems. Everything that considered the worldly way, it will end when one dies. The benefits of having knowledge or ability in the worldly way can only give benefits to the day you die, but it cannot benefit you after that. Because Reuters is like news reporter, so he said all the news reporter do are just announcing bad news, negative news, and negative viewpoints. All news are black karma. They all are offensive and competitive. They know all these news, but they don't know about themselves. Then he asked the audience, how many knuckles that you have in one hand? So everyone who was sitting there was looking at their hand and trying to count the knuckles. So it means that even something that's so close to us, we don't know because we pay most of our attention to things outside ourselves. So Luang Pu make the audience laugh so much because when they are looking at their hands and were trying to count their knuckles, Luang Pu say, there's no need to count now. And then he gave another example. Some enlightened one asked his follower, do you think how many lives you have in this body? And he said, only one life. Luang Pu said, that was not true because the person might have many parasites living with him, so there might be like uncountable life that residing in one body. Then again he laughed and he repeated like, oh, you have learned and graduate with very high education in the worldly way, but you don't even know how many knuckles you have in one hand. So again he emphasized that we should not learn or study anything that would give worldly knowledges, just focusing on learning Dhamma, because learning in the worldly way is not benefit anything. He gave example when he was young. He used to write poems, like he was very poetic because he had a difficult childhood, like he was poor and he was an orphan, has no father and mother. So this difficult childhood make him have a soft spot, and he tend to love writing. So he wrote some poem. For example, when he see the flower falling off the trees, he would come up with, oh, flowers, what should I do if I want to love you when you bloom and still love you, if I wish you to bloom and still love you when you fall. And he got winning prize for his poem, also awarded some prizes. And now he's getting old. When he looked back at his young age and all these things he did and the knowledge and ability that he used in the world, he thought it was all nonsense. However, when he flashed back to all the good conduct, the good things that he has done, it is meritful, is the white color karma, that whenever he flashed back to all the good conduct that he did, he felt joy, he felt overwhelmed with joy. Though he only create positive action, positive karma, but when he went to war, he has to create conduct according to the law of conduct at the war time. However, after war, he became monks and he practiced Dhamma until he have a breakthrough, enlightened to the Buddha's Dhamma. And then he have the grief in law. He grieve for the negative karma that was happened, that people are creating hurt and harm for one another. And then he begged for forgiveness. So he asked for forgiveness and he shared his blessing to compensate all those karma, so that ahosikam or forgiveness can cleanse and purify all karma and let the past be passing. So it is lucky that we are human and we have 5 aggregates. We have the mind that can set the intention to beg for forgiveness, to cleanse and purify the karma. Animal has no sankhan. Sankhan means the thinking formation. They only act according to their instinct, so they cannot create any action to cleanse and purify the karma like human. Then he addressed to my friend, said, oh, it's very good that you come to the temple and have a firm startup. Let's have a good start from now on. And again he praised her for taking care of her grandmother, father and mother. And he told her, if any man make a hit on her again, let's try to avoid relationship, create bondage. And then he laughed. He said, because we are growing old, and then we will be like shrinking, not as beautiful as when we were young. So the only beauty remains is the beauty within yourself, or it could be called the noble wealth that can only be coming out from the inner self that is enlightened to the Dhamma. So just to see, to know, to remember when you study anything or learn anything is only the worldly attainment, but to have a breakthrough and clear comprehension of Buddha Dhamma, enlightened to the Buddha's Dhamma, is the ultimate attainment. Satya Dhamma, or the ultimate truth, is the wealth, the inner wealth of everyone after enlightenment, which Luang Pu said, even he is old in age, but inside of him he has the inner wealth. So after enlightenment, let's vow to pay back gratitude to the Buddha. And again, Luang Pu repeated the thing he always said to every groups of audience. It goes like, my Father, the Lord Buddha, is the greatest in this world. In all remaining life to come, I pray to worship His grace. My mother is the most prominent star in the Milky Way. I will make myself stand out like my mother. And then he mentioned that my elder brother or my seniors are all group of the enlightened ones. In all remaining life to come, I vow to serve them. And for the followers or the younger brother and sister are those who behave well and practice Buddha's Dhamma correctly. I will teach them to fly. Fly, fly here. Come, my brothers and sisters, follow me. Fly fast and high. I only allow you to fly as low as 2 inches above the navel. If any lower than that, you will crash into the Himalayas, falling into the dark, woeful state. So he laughed and he said, when you fall because you flying too low, even you yell out for help in Thai, say, ช่วยด้วย ช่วยด้วย and then he laughed. It's like no one can save you. And then he laughed and like scolding tone. It's like, help your mother, help your father. It's like, it's a swear word. Like, how can I help you? I had already warned you, don't fly low, and you still fly low. Then he turned to the nak bwat, the audience that already ordained. He said, let's preserve and project yourself well according to the culture of the ordained, so that you can show yourself to the world, and people in the world that has wisdom will follow you and start upholding and practicing Dhamma. He said, in this present time, it seems like Buddhism has grown, and you can see many temples, many stupa, many pagoda, many Buddha images on these holy site, holy places, holy figure. But everything is only shown in the form of materialistic prosperity. Is not spiritual prosperity. Even Buddhist followers, they misunderstood Buddhism. They pray to God of Hinduism. Even monks, when Luang Pu was monk, he were invited to recite prayer at a Brahmin shrine or Brahmin temple, and many Buddhists came to the Brahmin temple to worship and pray. They begged the Brahmin to save them, but the Brahmin himself cannot save his own child, his own temple, because later on some crazy people went and destroyed the temple. Then Luang Pu made a remark that Christianity said Yahovah was the creator, the one who built the world. Islamic said that the Allah was the one who created the world. Hinduism said the one who created the world or built the world was Brahman. So Luang Pu said it's very confusing. So who is the true creator of this world? There is only one world. So who is truly building this world or creating this world? With these conflicted ideas, they create disharmony and conflict, and they fight against one another. When the Buddha enlightened to the truth of nature, everything is already revealed to him, and is written in the Tipitaka that everything is by nature. And the time that he was enlightened, people in the Western world still like occupy fighting one another in the war. And he mentioned this Crusade War. The Crusade War was the war between Christianity and Islamic. Their civilization was low in terms of spirituality, but was high in terms of materialistic. However, in the future to come, it will be opposite. In our regions, we will be highly developed in materialism and low in spirituality. The Western world will turn and pay attention to spirituality more. They will go Buddho, Dhammo, Sangho, and we will go like iPad, iPhone. This is many example. But Luang Pu example is like we will have like skyscraper buildings, like very tall buildings. We will have like spaceship and high technology development, high materialism. But our Dhamma or spirituality will be lower than the Western world. And people in our regions will look at Western world as being dumb, being stupid, while they sit with closed eye and chanting prayer, Buddho, Dhammo, Sangho. Luang Pu laughed that things will go in the opposite direction for Asian world and Western world. So the Western world will be highly developed in spirituality, and the Asian countries will follow their history by adore worldly attainment and then create war, start having conflict and fight. Then Luang Pu make conclusion. So let's make it as simple as this, that all of you sitting here, you have learned a lot in the worldly way already. You have a worldly education, and now you know it's only end there. Nothing can be further developed. Human just born, and all they have to do, I mean, their normal conduct was just to eat, to sleep, and to procreate, having babies, and try to avoid danger. That is it. And in the end, everyone will die. And that is it. Though you have accomplished a lot in the world or not, you surely have to be dead one day. The stories will end, the curtain will be closed. Whatever we own will not belong to us anymore. Our body will turn to ashes.